Business Network. Nigeria's dynamic economy, arguably the largest in Africa, is experiencing a mix of growth and challenges. Despite recent data indicating a GDP growth rate of 3.84% in Q4 2024, inflation, insecurity, foreign exchange scarcity, and multiple taxation, infrastructural development among others still affects the expected growth. In this intricate environment, however, innovative leaders are finding ways to thrive. Welcome to Corporate Business Network, a platform where Nigeria's top business minds unpack the true state of the economy, share strategies for success, and showcase the resilience and leadership that keep Nigerian businesses moving forward. Join us as we explore the issues that shape the nation's economic landscape and uncover the opportunities that drive collective growth. Corporate Business Network. Business Network.
Okay, so Niton current B2B marketplace, what it means is that we're currently the third largest export solution in Nigeria. What that means is we make up a large portion of exports going to the US, the UK, and then the Middle East, and we cover agriculture, fabrics, and then mineral commodities. The company started out of a very interesting history. So my grandfather used to be one of Nigeria's exporters of cocoa to the UK. I grew up in a farming background, but then I saw some of the challenges that he faced. And so when I went to do my master's, I also tried going into cocoa as well, and I lost all my college savings. So I was like, no, I definitely need to come back and solve this problem. So I left my work at Google and decided to come back. And then it's been quite an interesting experience having to help farmers who naturally wouldn't be able to get access to global market. So I mean, it's been a source of happiness and joy to see that transition and solve their major problem. Now manufacturers can focus on farming while we handle sourcing customers, logistics, and the entire problem that they normally would go through. So that's good. So the vision of Niton is to be the regulatory body or the regulatory platform for everything that's to do with export from Africa. We want to be that platform that serves like the African Union, but for export, meaning that for the first time we want exporters across Africa to have a platform that they trust for quality, they trust for pricing, meaning if you're coming from Europe, from Asia, and you're trying to buy from Africa, there should be a standard to how to get that. So basically the mission obviously would be to help African manufacturers connect to the international market and allow them to compete with global exporters. And I mean, at the end of the day, the value proposition is to simplify how international buyers connect with African markets. Basically, we want to make sure that if you're a buyer anywhere in the world, either you have a chain of restaurants that you need spices for, or you own a construction company, or you're in the healthcare space, and you need commodities or agricultural products or fabrics, you basically don't need to go to the bottlenecks of several systems. You have one platform that does everything for you. I think one of the biggest advantages that stands out from other operators is that we are one of the few companies that own our own neobank solution. So we currently built what we call Niton Capital, which is a neobank solution for manufacturers. So meaning that for the first time in Africa, manufacturers now have their own bank dedicated to them. So meaning that as a manufacturer, you can come to us and get credit for as low as 1% per month. You can come to us and get access to dollar cards or cards that you can use to buy materials that you need internationally. And then you have access to something we call the export account, which gives you access to tax write-off, even credit emissions as well. So we are building the manufacturer's bank, which is the first of its kind in the entire Nigeria and Africa. So one of the biggest advantages is that we see the export market as a market that there is still a lot of opportunity. It's still very green, though there's been traditional export for the longest time, but the system at which we are using technology to make it systematically easier for everyone is that there's room for collaboration. So we are saying at this point in time, there's so much market to capture. So we are basically open to collaborating with individuals who can play in several spaces. Like for example, if you're really good at fabrics or you've been able to solve the fabric side of it, we want to partner with you. Then we can get to a level whereby Africa can compete with the rest of the world. Then we can now say, okay, yes, there's room for competition, but it's still very early. So we are looking for collaborations and making sure that we're working with everyone. So as of today, Niton has 3 subsidiaries. There's Niton HQ, which is the marketplace that connects African manufacturers to international buyers, that is fully managed by us. Second is Niton Capital, which is the neobank solution, like the bank for manufacturers that helps us provide credit to businesses and manufacturers. Then thirdly will be Niton Hub, and Niton Hub is the logistics and supply chain arm of the company. We handle the entire supply chain from anywhere in Nigeria to our warehouse in Lagos, to anywhere in Lagos to basically anywhere in the entire world. So we basically handle the entire supply chain and tracking the vehicles and trucks that work with us. Truth be told is that there's a lot of work to still be done, but a lot has been done already. So for example, companies like ours are building new ways for exporters or for farmers or manufacturers to connect differently to the international market. Like for example, before now, if you have to send a product from, let's say, Kano to Lagos, you have to be like, how do I find trucks? Who do I assign trucks? Okay, it's only the truck that is available to you. But with Niton Hub that we've built, what that means is that you can have something we call an Uber for truck, whereby you can simply go on the platform, pick your price, pick your options, and then any of the truck driver that is close to you would accept the order and come and pick up from you and deliver to Lagos. So it's a new technology that we've built that is changing the way people basically move. But we know that there's still a lot of infrastructure to be done. Because for us, and the advantage that we have is that we route our drivers. So our drivers have AI routing, meaning if they're trying to move from Kano to Lagos, we basically tell them, oh, there's bad road in this place, there's truck has fallen in this area, don't follow this route. That makes it easy for us, but there will still need for the routes to be easier, also for government regulatory to be better, so that by the time you're exporting products, you're not paying a lot. And so there's still a lot of work to be done, but technology is doing really, really well in helping manufacturers, and also the internet has made it possible for buyers anywhere in the world to say, oh, I want to buy from this company. I trust their system and the quality. So yeah, there's a lot of work to still be done, but yes, we've seen technology really, really scale in this, and government is really incentivizing a lot of operations for farmers or businesses in that space. So what we've done is, to be honest, there are some factors that we can't control, but there are some factors that we try as much as possible to limit. So let's say, for example, most of our truck drivers who are moving one certain region are usually advised to move maybe at certain times. So we've been able to see certain patterns. Maybe it's not better to move at night or to move trucks at night. So if you're in a particular location and you know that it's almost night, so we basically tell the driver, oh, go and park here and wait till daytime to be able to move. So we've been able to avoid some conflicts, avoid some issues, but then those issues would still come up. But you have to find a way to limit the problems and find new ways to kind of make it work. And I think another thing is that we work very closely with the Nigerian government. So most times when our trucks are moving, there are certain stickers that are attached to our vehicles that show that, okay, this particular company is moving very important products, and so there are basically things that you would see, document that our driver will present on the road and make it easy for them to go through checkpoints and move really, really fast, prevent some of all those bottlenecks. I think initially we used to have a lot of problems when it comes to the quality of manufacturers, because for the longest, manufacturers were only selling to Nigeria or some parts of Africa, and then you notice that if you have to sell internationally, you need to increase the quality of how you're producing. There's an ISO, so International Standard Organization, that basically sets the standard for international trade. So basically we had to start pushing that notion to our manufacturers, letting them know that, okay, this way you've been producing is not sufficient for you to sell to the US market or sell to the Middle East. You need to increase the maybe really dry or the quality of the cleanliness of the product. So those were some of the bottlenecks we faced initially. But later we started noticing that manufacturers started adjusting. And then we started out solving the problem of buyers trusting Nigerian products or trusting African products. Because, okay, think about it, in 2021, the international market lost over 23 billion in trade fraud just from within Africa. So that means people trying to buy from Africa lost about $23 billion on products that maybe did not meet quality that they expected, or the products were not at the value they wanted, or the product got spoiled, or they didn't even get the product at all. So now we are basically solving the problem of telling buyers, oh, now you can trust us to help you get this product and not experience any trade loss or not experience uncertainty of who you're trusting to buy from. So I think those are the two major problems that we faced that we are currently solving, and we're trying to look for ways for government interventions to come in and really give us credibility that yes, this company is backed by government to solve this problem, and so that helps. Yes, that's a very interesting one, because today you've put the price of your product at this, tomorrow the FX has changed and then you have to like adjust price. And so we are more on the B2B space, which is we usually do large scale, which is business to business. So most of our buyers are large scale businesses. What that means is that if you're dealing with one person, or if you're dealing with 5 customers that are large scale, it's easy for you to be like, oh, FX has changed, and then they understand because they are buying a large quantity. Than if you're dealing with like a B2C, or you're selling to individuals. So for us, we've been able to make sure that despite the FX, the customers are fully aware, and then the platform is on automation. So basically, if the prices go up, the platform automatically increases the prices. If the prices go down, there's like an automation system on that makes it easy for the manufacturers to not manually change price. Then the buyers to be like, oh, I bought at this price today and this price tomorrow. So we basically have partners that make it more easier to manage pricing, especially when you freeze price or you lock price by doing deposits as a buyer. So I would say one of the most interesting incentives that government can play is to make sure that there are rooms for manufacturers or businesses that supports influx of capital or influx of FX to be really projected. So for example, we know that just solving this problem in Nigeria or solving the problem of trade or export or agriculture would bring in nothing less than $11 billion every single year. So we need to find ways to encourage businesses that push for export, allowing manufacturers or farmers to now get real value for their export. Because truth is that farming is not as lucrative as it used to be before because of so many changes. So government needs to be very interested in making sure that farmers are well incentivized. There is access to crops at a discounted price. There is access to even infrastructure credit. Manufacturers should not just manufacture and sell. They should at least produce or process to an extent to increase the value of that product and then be able to sell at a good return. So those are some of the incentives that would be very big for this space. So I would say if you are a young person and you're thinking of, okay, how do I add extra incomes or go into business, I would advise you that farming is not the way it used to be. But nowadays, farmers are millionaires that are privately enjoying their best life because there is now a lot of companies that are pushing for export. So what we would say is that if you're an individual out there and you're looking to go into farming or go into production, we as Niton will be able to provide you the capital to go into that and even provide you with buyers. So if you're ever thinking of, okay, what do I do? How do I go into agriculture or business? You're one of the partners that can assure you access to capital and then even get you off-takers if that's something that you're really passionate about. And we want to do this at a large scale, encouraging the younger youths to see the potential for earning in dollars or pounds or euro through export as an option. So going forward, they should expect us to expand so much that we become not just a marketplace or a supply chain company or a neobank solution, but we become a platform that everyone within Nigeria trusts to be able to export to anywhere. But we want to make sure that African products are on shelves in Denmark, in Liverpool, anywhere across the world. So basically, you should be able to go to a store in Netherlands, or a store in Qatar, or a store in China, and you're seeing your African gari, your African rice, your African food, making sure that yes, Africa is well represented across the entire world. Because if you go to Walmart or stores across the world, you will still see Asian products, you will see some European products, but Africa is not very represented. So we are showing our customers that going forward, they will have their products on shelves across the entire world. That's the vision of what we want to do for a lot of businesses. So for our awards, last 2 years, we won the African Retail Award. So we were currently the largest African retail platform in Africa, meaning that we were the ones that were making the most exports from Africa to the rest of the world. By last year, we got the US Logistics and Supply Chain Award for Agri-Tech, listing us among the 100 companies in the entire world that are leading in Agri-Tech. And then this year, we got the Vanguard Awards for Agri-Tech, so meaning that we were basically among the top 50 companies in the US that are supporting agriculture export and providing sustainable livelihood for anyone within. So basically, we are solving the problem of hunger, and we are among the top 50 companies in the entire US providing those solutions to combat food hunger and food scarcity. Yeah, so for us as a company, we make sure that those farmers that are working with us, they basically get what we call carbon credits, which is a rate, which is still at the end of the day, still cash back. So if after a year we've seen how much you've done us as a company, we can say, okay, do you know what? We're giving you 50 million for you to expand your farming production or for you to increase infrastructure. So what that means is that rather than just providing you invoicing credit, you can say, oh, rather than sell raw cocoa products, how about we work together to build a cocoa drying plantation that helps to increase the value of production. So this is what we've been doing in partnership with the Bank of Industry to be able to see how we can help manufacturers increase production and give back to the economy. So our goals are usually revolves around food, provision, even giving out to agencies that need food support. Like for example, the flooding that happened recently this year, we're able to give a lot of food out and seeds out to some of those farms to start production on the right way. So that's our incentive to a lot of to make sure that food production continues. Okay, so I am Dr. Nwose. I'm the founder and CEO of Niton. I finished my master's from Oxford University, and then I went to do my PhD at Eminent University in the US. And currently, my passion surrounds everything agriculture, fabrics, mining, mineral. And I'm really someone who likes to support, and I'm really very good patron. So I'm very, 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 very big on African businesses and Nigerian businesses and seeing how we can help young people really scale and really grow and earn in foreign currencies or earn in supporting Africa or supporting Nigeria to scale. So I'm very, very big on supporting Nigeria, and that's something that really drives me to what I do today. Yeah, so basically I tend to travel a lot in the bid to see what other people are doing, in the bid to explore. And then obviously, I think I'm like 6'7", so I play a lot of basketball, and then I swim a lot. So those are like some of the things that I do to just unwind. Then go out to meet young people at universities or do founders meet up or look for ways I can interact with people. That kind of just helps you.